Hey guys, welcome to Kamen Rider Ryuki Commentary Part 2.
Yep. We're in the second act. We're starting to get through some things. The plot's moving forward, definitely.
Yeah, all up until those couple episodes
where the plot wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, but first, where we left off was they had just introduced the murderer, the problem solver,
Asakura, aka Kamen Rider Oja.
He's really cool. We both like him.
I fucking love him.
Are you sure we didn't talk about him in the last one?
We did. No, the thing is, we did talk about him, but it was at the very end. It was like I may have said a couple of things. I don't remember. And then, we didn't get too far into it because he didn't do anything. All he did was show up. Like, all we talked about was his appearance in his debut as a rider.
Are you sure we didn't talk about how Ren helped him get away? I'm pretty sure we definitely talked about that. Maybe, possibly.
Maybe.
You know what? I think we'll just go over it again, just really fast, probably, because I have a feeling that we talked about it, but long story short, after Asakura holds up he holds up. All right, so we went over Kitaoka and how his master level lawyering only got this outright murderer 10 years.
I mean,
in
we
jail.
did talk about that.
We definitely talked.
You definitely talked about that.
We definitely talked about that. So he wants to kill Kitaoka because he only got him 10 years in jail. He only 10 years. He didn't acquit him. Not good enough. So he holds an entire restaurant full of people hostage. Yeah, we did talk about this because Shinji was there. So, and it was like right after that. I
think we stopped right as Shinji just beat him up, and then Ren had to interfere. Had
to be a get.
Yeah, had to be a get and run interference.
Yeah, guys, we stopped taking notes. I stopped caring about taking notes, so we're definitely out of our depth here.
Yeah, it's mostly because I feel that we're like coming in, we were less motivated because of like nothing was happening, and there was like the writing wasn't really that good at the start,
and also I was burned out and I just didn't feel like taking notes at that time.
But we got on a program though.
Yes, we got on a slight program. So after. I think we're just gonna skip to like Ren. All right, so at some point, Asakura is like surrounded by the cops, and then Ren busts in with a car and says, "Get in, loser! We're getting out of here." And then Ren helps a murderer escape the police.
Yeah, and then after that, they do the plot to make it think that they do the plot to fake his death, and then Shinji beats the crap out of him.
Damn, that does happen. Yeah, so they fake his death by throwing the car off of a cliff. And then Asakura just still starts walking around town like no big deal. Like all the time. He just
does
He just does. He just walks around town.
He just doesn't care.
No, he extra doesn't care.
Even though he has a perfectly suitable way to traverse the town inconspicuously via the entire extra dimension that they fight in. He just walks around.
No. He can't do that. Remember, you have to exit. Oh, no, wait. We went over this. You have to. I was about to say you have to.
You in fact looked it up and proved yourself wrong.
Yes, I did prove myself wrong, and I was about to be extra stupid. Okay, so what I was going to say was you have to exit the mirror world wherever you entered. However, that only applies to a rider without a contract beast, and he definitely has a contract beast.
Yeah,
he has at least a contract beast.
At this point, he has as many contract beasts as he needs.
He is 3.
So
yeah, so one of the plot points is he's being chased by did we talk about him killing Guy? Yeah, we definitely talked about him killing Guy. And did we talk about him stealing the rhino?
At some point, like, he's fighting Ren and Shinji at the same time. Then the rhino runs interference and wants a piece of him, and then he goes, "Oh, I don't feel like dealing with you." So then he pulls out a second contract card and forms a contract with the rhino,
and thus being the first rider to form a multiple contracts.
Yeah,
and it works. And everyone's shitting bricks because that just multiplies his power. He's just way stronger.
Yeah. Then we start getting.
We have some stuff with Tezuka, right?
Yeah, we start getting Tezuka's backstory about like the lead up to him being a rider, because just like Shinji, he's a person who wasn't supposed to be in the Rider War.
Yep,
he took his friend's place after his friend was hard murdered by fucking
by Asakura.
No, his friend only got hurt. It was after that Shiro showed up, offered him a chance to be in the Rider War so that he could fix his hand, and then he was like, "No, I don't want to be there, or I don't want to fight other people." And then Shiro just sent a monster to hard murder him.
That's right.
And then Tezuka...
But also, Asakura did break his hand.
Yeah.
Asakura was the one who broke Tezuka's friend's hand.
Yeah.
And then just... Kanzaki Shiro is just being a dick.
Yeah.
He for whatever reason, we still technically don't know his reason.
I don't remember if we talked about it last time, but Kanzaki Shiro gave Tezuka
the survive card.
The survive card at some point.
The best card in the game.
Yes.
It's literally super mode.
It's just super mode.
But Tezuka doesn't use it. You know who he hands it off to our resident Git, Ren.
Yeah.
He just hands it off to him. He's like, "Here, so you don't explode."
Yeah. And then eventually we get to the part where
Shinji asks...
Shinji's talking to him... Or Shinji asks about his friend, then we get the backstory that his friend's arm was broken by Asakura, then murdered. Then we get to the part where he wants to go fight... Or he starts a fight with Asakura, and Shinji's there, or Shinji shows up to Shinji shows up to assist him.
Yep. Because remember, Asakura is the only one Shinji could never forgive.
Yes.
The only one he'll never forgive.
We'll
get into that in a second. Yeah. Oh my god.
Asakura starts his final vent on Shinji, and
so of note is that earlier Shinji had asked Tezuka who would be the next to die as like a prediction, and he goes, "The next one to die will be me." And then we have this whole thing. So Asakura's about to do his final event on Shinji, but Tezuka pushes him out of the way and takes it like a champion, except this champion died.
Yeah.
Tezuka dies. Because in his dying breath, he reveals that in his prediction, he predicted that Shinji would be the one to die. And then he says, finally, "My prediction was proven wrong," and then he dies. And Alan and I looked directly at each other, and were like, "What about that time you predicted Ren was gonna die? Like, a lot. Like, he didn't just predict Ren would die once. He did multiple fortune tellings and saw that Ren was just hard dead."
But anyway, then Ren shows up and pulls a card from his deck, and then a tornado is summoned after he pulls the card, because apparently just drawing the card is that strong.
Drawing the survive card causes weather phenomena to happen.
Yes, it transforms his sword into a shield. And then he puts it in the slot, and then draws another sword from the shield and turns into Survive form.
Yep. So that reminds me something we didn't talk about in the first part. We didn't talk about rider designs, or what we think of them, or the opening. The opening's okay.
We can get to that at the end, because there's we can do it on the third part, because like when we get,
I guess.
Yeah, because there's still more riders to show up.
You're right. We just had that new rider show up, but yeah. So Ren fends off Asakura, he tries to fend off. Or no. I'm getting ahead of myself. I for sure thought he was gonna get the third one.
No,
but that's not until later.
Yeah, Ren single-handedly just fucking smacks Asakura around because.
But why does he stop? Is that when Odin shows up? No.
I think Asakura just runs away. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But nothing of important happens until, like, at some point, all four of our main riders gather back together, and it's Shinji, Ren, Kitaoka, and Asakura are fighting Asakura. And this is after Asakura has thus then acquired.
There's a plot point where Shinji says that he's going to stop the rider battle by changing the riders themselves to not fight.
Yeah,
and so there's an entire thing about Asakura has a brother who they were separated after a house fire that killed their parents, and they bring his brother to him to try, or along with Reiko, because Reiko's trying to get...
Because Reiko is a dumb idiot and sees Asakura and, like, just kind of hides out near where the murderer is and doesn't try to get the fuck away while he's asleep.
Yeah. And then...
multiple hours.
Asakura basically fools them into bringing his brother to him,
so he could just hard murder his brother.
Because he reveals that he's the one who started the house fire, which we weren't surprised about.
No. Oh, look, the crazy murderer guy was a crazy murderer the whole time.
And then Ren and Shinji start fighting him, and this is Reiko's like first actual incident or first actual time being right next to somebody who disappears via mirror monster bullshit.
Yeah.
And while Asakura's fighting them, eventually Tetsuka's contract beast shows up, this giant stingray, and then he just pulls out a third contract card.
Yeah, and then he just has 3 contract beasts now.
And then Scott looked at me, and who goes, why does he just have so many contract cards? And I go, and I looked at him and I go, well, Asakura is the only one putting in work, so I would assume that he's just being rewarded for beating people.
Apparently. Then he pulls out the other bullshit card, the Unite card.
Yes, then he pulls out Unite Vent, which causes all 3 of his contract beasts to fuse together
into basically a dragon.
Yeah. And then it blasts everybody away, and then they all
kind of just leave.
Yeah, they all just kind of leave. There's a lot of times where they just kind of leave.
It happens a lot. It just happened recently with Shinji and Ren.
Yeah,
they just kind of leave. Because of the time limit, quote unquote, but the time limit is so arbitrary. They could be in the mirror world for 2 episodes, or they could literally at one point be there for 5 minutes and have to leave.
There was one time, the one time where they were like they got in the mirror world and they were only there for like a minute, and then their time was up. But that was the episode where Shiro turned off all their contracts and said, "Go find my sister."
Oh yeah. That wasn't an episode. Like, that was an episode, but nothing happened. Yeah, what was Yui doing? Yui was like...
she was hanging out on a beach.
Yeah, but like... Oh! You know what? I remember her plot. Her plot was, I want to remember the house I grew up in as a kid because because my grandma doesn't want to talk about it. So I'm gonna go to the house.
She's trying to find out the mystery behind what happened to her brother.
Yeah, so she goes to the house and then she kind of just fucks off, and then she's quote unquote lost. So Shiro literally steps in and says, "The Rider War is on pause. Find my sister and you'll get your rider powers back."
Because while he did, like, all he did was turned off the contracts, but all the monsters are still there. So with the contracts turned off, the monsters are just going to attack their riders. Even though we have multiple instances of monsters being mad that their contract holders are dying.
No. It's bad writing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And then I don't know, and then some stuff happens, and then at one point they're fighting again in the mirror world, and
it's the episode where Ren kidnaps a child because he wants to show the child that the Rider War is bad.
Oh yeah, because
he steps in to fight a monster, then Asakura shows up and starts fighting him, and then
the kid runs away because fighting is scary.
Kitaoka shows up, starts fighting him, and then the kid gets scared because being a rider fucking sucks shit. Because, like, he's watching Ren get the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I saw you. You're so cool." And Ren wanted to show him this because he didn't pull out Survive as soon as he saw Sakura.
Oh yeah, because he would have.
He definitely would have. Because he tries it, like, right after the kid runs away, and Shinji jumps in, right?
Yeah. So, like, the kid runs away, Shinji hops in, and then that's Ren's cue that the kid's gone. So then he pops in Survive Vent, and they're fighting, and then we get the appearance of the 13th rider.
Even though we've only gone through, like, what, 6, 7?
No, wait. 6, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, we have our 4 right here. We have Guy...
Seven. Because three
scissors.
Yeah.
Scissors. See, I knew it was 7. I was like, wait, we have Guy, Tezuka... we have, Jun, Tezuka, and whoever the fuck Scissors was. I forget his name.
It doesn't matter. And then Odin just decides to show off.
Yeah, the 13th rider is Odin. So that he says, whoever is the last rider gets to challenge me. The
and
final...
they're all basically like, you can't tell me what to do, you're not my mom, and they all start fighting him.
And then he basically flash steps around in flashes of golden light, and he pulls out a card that's slightly more bullshit than Survive. Because he's Maximilian Pegasus, and he gets to have all the cards because he's the one who made the game.
Yeah. He pulls out Time Vent.
And we basically sort of get a recap episode, but it's not a recap episode.
Yeah.
He reverses time.
And Shinji, at various points throughout the show, at various points, like, Shinji gets reversed back to right before he got the card deck.
Right after he first sees Drag Rider.
Yeah, and he he relives all the moments up to
this point.
And at various moments, he'll have
flashes of clarity of the future.
Of the future, like, of things that he's already done.
Like, he gets his memories.
Yeah, and Odin tells him as he's experiencing these things that he's going to, he'll remember for, like, a minute, but then he'll forget. At various points.
Yeah, he'll just keep forgetting.
Yeah. And he actually does try to change the future by telling Kitaoka at that one, like, during the time that he's, like, in jail for his kidnapping his coworker.
Yeah.
He tries to tell Kitaoka that Asakura is going to become a rider, and then Kitaoka pretends to
believe him.
Kitaoka believes him, but he pretends to do something about it, and he goes, "Man, if I'm not going to stop Asakura from becoming a rider, because then we get our next rider, and then I know who it is."
But then that doesn't change anything.
And it doesn't change anything, though.
Because Asakura is kind of, like, protected by the plot.
Yeah. And so
basically Shinji relives the show in flashes. It doesn't take like too long of breaks. It mostly focuses on when Shinji gets his memories back, so it's not like a big recap of the entire scene. He's just like, where am I? What's going on?
All the recap moments are just highlights of the most important things.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty a decent setup for a recap episode.
Yeah.
When we find out, all right, so then we find out why what's his name? Kashiro does this. Why Kanzaki does this? He did it because he meets up with Yui.
Like last episode, he met up with Yui. Then
they had a fight. And she starts, like, unveiling all the mirrors in, like, his super secret mirrors everywhere room in their old house, which houses all of the monsters that live in the mirror world, which I have no idea how that works.
I don't know either.
So then they get into, like, a struggle as he's trying to stop her from doing things, and she knocks over a glass of water that's just there.
A vase. It's a vase.
A vase that's just there.
And then it spills water onto a drawing that she made as a kid, and
of her and her brother. And when he tries to pick it up, it like rips in half. So then we get a scene of him going and picking up the drawing, and it's not wet because they didn't have a fight, because for whatever reason Yui didn't fight him in that timeline.
No, they had the fight, but he made sure that the vase didn't get knocked over.
Oh yeah, that's right. So he
made everything the same, but he just made sure that the vase didn't get knocked over.
So
that's it.
So before he reversed time, before Odin reversed time, he said there's a correction that must need to be made. So after we have the scene of him picking up the picture, we see him fighting the other riders again, and he goes, "The correction has been made. You may now resume." So he literally
No.
He says that before the scene you're about to talk about. He says that before that scene.
No, he says it right. He says it right after.
No, he says it right before.
Because everything, like, he doesn't say the correction has been made until after the thing. Because he goes, what the thing happens, and then he says, well, it doesn't matter because the correction was made.
Yeah, but he says the correction has been made before the thing.
No, the thing happened. No, I will pause this and we will go back.
All right, do it. Yeah, we definitely checked, and I was correct.
Yeah.
So what happens is he does all that, and he says the correction has been made. Continue your fight. So then, all right. So before he reversed time, he does his flash step behind Shinji, because Shinji is the only one who didn't try to attack Odin like an idiot. So he's just like, time to make things fair and hit the guy who I haven't hit yet, because all the other guys try to attack him.
Yeah.
So he flash steps right behind Shinji and backhands him, because that's his only attack so far that he's done so far. It's just backhand people. So after he says, all right, and then that's when he reverses time, and then we get this in the whole thing. So then we have the scene again where he says the correction has been made, continue fighting. So for whatever reason, he then decides to pull off the same "I'm right behind you" move he did before to Shinji.
Yeah.
So he teleports behind him, and then Shinji immediately turns around and punches him with his strike vent. And he goes, "Oh, so you landed a blow on me. How did you know? Your memory should have been gone forever." And Shinji just looks up and goes, "Who knows?" And then we get like a huge montage of like at his workplace.
No, it's not even a montage. It's his boss goes like, "Man, why is Shinji leaving all these fucking sticky notes on his desk that say punch behind you?" Like, oh man, all these fucking sticky notes, and then he takes them off his computer. Then he turns around and the wall in the office is just covered in sticky notes.
And then we go to the cafe, and Yui is in Shinji and Ren's room, And she's just like, why is there so much paper here? And then she like pulls back the curtains, and it's just written on the windows, when you see golden feathers, punch behind you. And it was probably the actual coolest thing Shinji has ever done and will ever do in this show. And I am so glad that it happened, because he was trying really, really hard to change fate, and that punch proved that he could change fate even the tiniest bit. And when Odin says nothing is any different, the correction, or nothing is any different, no one's fate has been changed, and Shinji goes, you're wrong, because what has changed is all of the deaths of the riders up to this point have been doubled, and now I know what I'm fighting for. And it was a really, really good moment. It was really nice.
It's too bad that
it's too bad the next 4 episodes have nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
2 of them were really funny and good. The other 2 were not.
All right, so first two episodes, these 2 episodes actually seemingly have nothing to do with each other.
No,
honestly,
the
first two.
They kind of do, because in the second one, Shinji's like, oh yeah, because of the blah 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 from the last episode, here's some whatever.
Yeah,
but whatever.
All we get okay. Here's one thing that we have to. We'll talk about the second episode. We don't need to talk about the first epised.
So, are you talking about? Oh, you don't want to talk about the marriage deal episode or whatever with that guy, the creeper guy.
No, I really don't care that much. if
all right, the only thing you need to know is that it's Shinji, Ren, and Kitaoka just broing around town trying to stop a monster just because Reiko gets kidnapped.
Yeah. Second episode. Kitaoka gets a letter saying that he's being
it's not a letter. A lawyer shows up to his house and tells him he's being sued.
Yeah, tells him he's being sued for breaking some bitch's heart.
And he hears the name and he starts literally having Vietnam flashbacks. He is frozen in place, and it was great.
We don't get to see what the flashbacks are though, not yet.
Not yet.
And so turns out that this girl is made up a bunch of bullshit just to get Kitaoka to remember her, and she tells these made up shitty stories about how Kitaoka did romantic things and fucking proposed to her and stuff. And the funny thing is that the second time, all
right, so for the first story she tells
is to Shinji by himself.
It's to Shinji by himself, and as the story's going on, I look at Alan and I go, "This 0%. This is 0% what happened. This is extra not what happened."
Then Shinji comes back, tells Kitaoka he's a piece of shit.
He believes the story,
and then he Shinji, Reiko, and Ren all go back to the girl, and then she tells a completely different story.
Completely different. The only similarities is the whole proposal part of the story.
Yeah,
but
Shinji Shinji double believes it.
It was actually great. As much
Reiko
as
believes it because she doesn't
She doesn't like Kitaoka.
Yeah.
She's extra biased.
And Ren doesn't believe it, but he doesn't care.
This is probably the only amusing time where Ren doesn't care. When Ren doesn't care, it's usually annoyingly dramatic moments. But
this is good. They show back up to Kitaoka's place.
No. Before that happens, he goes up to Shinji and he's like, "Hey, you got any money? I want to buy a gift card, or I want to buy a card, like a Hallmark or whatever." And they show back up to Kitaoka's house and they hand him the envelope.
No, just Ren. It's just
Ren.
It's
just Ren.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Congratulations. Don't invite me to the wedding. I won't go." And Kitaoka's like, "What the fuck is going on?" It was just Ren not caring only worked in this episode because it was just a purely for fun episode.
Oh god, it was the best.
Also we get a scene of Ren and Shinji walking down the street shirtless in the hot blazing sun.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
It was important enough to be in the opening.
Yeah.
Because usually in the opening, they show a few flashes of stuff that's going to happen in the episode, and in this episode, they show that in the flash of the opening.
Yeah, because nothing important happens other than that.
It's still pretty good.
Then Goro confronts her, and it turns out that she's really good at martial arts.
No. All right, no, we're skipping 20 questions. They basically try to see who knows Kitaoka better, and it culminates in the question of what is his favorite catchphrase, and they both of their answers are things Kitaoka has never said on screen.
Yep.
I can understand if he had said, if it's his favorite catchphrase that he says all the time, then we should have heard it at least once.
Yeah. So anyway,
I thought for sure it was
a
going to be
bunch of thugs show up, and then she beats them up, and then that's when Goro realizes that he goes, "Oh, he kept her around because she was."
He tells Goro specifically that she's strong.
He told him before he went, but then we get the flashback after she beats him up.
Yes,
and then Kitoko was like, "I kept her around because she was strong."
Because she was Tsuyoi.
Yeah. And then we find out that
then she starts dying.
Yeah, she starts dying, and then tells Goro that she's dying, and then he tells Kitaoka. So Kitaoka's like,
obviously because Kitaoka's dying, he's just like, oh,
I guess I relate. And then he goes to fucking talk to her and give her an actual date night. And then Goro goes to the hospital, and the doctor says she just has anemia. I don't know, she's kind of an idiot. She thought she was dying, even though I told her she wasn't dying.
Oh, by the way, speaking of her being an idiot, we just got earlier in the episode we had gotten a whole bunch of flashbacks of her being a terrible secretary to Kitaoka.
Yeah.
Crashing his car because she wanted to swat a fly on the windshield, or tripping and
she did swat the fly though. Because after they crash, she says, "Got it,"
and then she pulls out a dumbbell and smashes the fly and breaks the windshield.
Yeah.
And then throws a plate of spaghetti on Kitaoka's face.
Yeah.
Because she tripped, and then she just no-sells it by getting a Band-Aid for her knee, which didn't even have any scratches on it.
Yeah. When Kitaoka shows up to grab her, or to take her on the date, a monster shows up to attack her, and then her bike hits a pothole, and a bowl of ramen that she's supposed to be delivering just flies into the air, and then Kitaoka grabs her and goes, "I know exactly how you feel." And then he takes her on the date. And then you just look at the monster with just a plate of noodles on its fucking head,
and it's spazzing out. It's great.
Then they have date night.
They have the most romantic day ever.
Yeah, and it ends with him in a suit, an actual suit.
Yeah.
Her in a wedding dress on a rowboat in the middle of water, and then the monster shows back up to get revenge.
And he goes. And he starts getting her to lean in for a kiss, and he goes, "You're supposed to close your eyes." So she does that. She puckers up and leans forward and closes her eyes. And then Kitaoka leans forward a little bit, and then he pulls out his card deck and then he does a slightly miniature version of his henshin pose, and he mouths the word henshin, and then he transforms and jumps into the reflection of the water to fight the monster. And it was so good. It was like that scene from Agito where what's her face comes home. Shinji's behind the door and he says, "Welcome back," but you can't hear him. It was just as good as that. It was probably better.
So Shinji shows up.
And Shinji shows up and he says, he's like, "What are you doing here? Get back on your date." And then he does a flying lariat on the monster and then finishes up with a people's elbow before he does his rider kick. It was like, I don't know why, but seeing just a Kamen Rider do a flying lariat into a people's elbow was the greatest thing I think I could have ever seen.
Anyway,
so then Kitaoka goes back to the date, and she's and Megumi, that's the girl's name. I don't know if we said it yet, but she's still puckered up, leaned in, eyes closed. And then Kitaoka leans in, and he's about to kiss her, and then he just diverts and kisses her on the forehead. And then he immediately gets the call. Doesn't he, like, immediately get a call from Goro that says, "Oh yeah, she's just anemic, she's not really dying," and he, like, dips the fuck out?
Yeah, he just like, what I wanted was after he got the call, I wanted him to just jump into the water.
Just swim away.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. No, he just rode the boat.
Yeah, he just...
Oh, man.
And then we get a really good scene. It's Shinji, Kitaoka, Reiko, and Ren sipping coffee. Sipping at like
it's not Ren's not there. It's Goro.
Oh, it is Goro. Right.
They're all just sitting at like an outdoor table at
like a Starbucks or whatever.
Yeah,
a quote unquote Starbucks.
Yeah.
And they're all having like their whatever, and it's raining, and they all have their umbrellas. And then they're just like, "Man, that was a crazy bitch. Glad we'll never have to deal with her again." And then we turn, and then we just hear, "Hey guys!" And it's the editor-in-chief at Ore Journal. And he goes, "I want you to meet our new employee." And we turn the camera, and it's Megumi. And she's just like, "Hi guys!"
This is when we stopped watching for the day. And I looked at Scott and I said, "By the way, she's here for the rest of the show." And Scott just sat there for a second and then just shouted out really loud, "God damn it!"
Like, God, this bitch is dumb. Like, dumber than Shinji. Shinji is lovable dumb. But waves into annoying dumb, but she's never the lovable part.
Yeah. The next 2 episodes
don't matter. We get a fake out.
I can summarize it in 2 sentences. Asakura is a killer, and
Shinji should have let him die.
No.
That's a sentence that should be part of this.
No, just Asakura is a murderer, and Megumi sees Shinji walk out of a mirror.
Yeah.
Or a window or something like that.
But basically she sees him pull his rider magic trick.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing of importance in 2 entire episodes. Based around the murderer, Asakura, who didn't murder anybody this time. Those 2 episodes were really disappointing. That's why we had to go double down into the really funny episodes that happened right beforehand.
Yeah.
It's really bad. I do just want to talk about the really, really dumb that Shinji did. Basically, the plot of the 2 episodes is that a whole bunch of a ship's full of people die to monsters, except for one little girl. And the one little girl got saved by Asakura.
Finger quotes. Heavy finger quotes.
It's quote-unquote saved by Asakura. And because of that, she's kind of, like, attached to him in a really creepy way. But whatever. She's traumatized. I can kind of forgive that. Whatever. Asakura is being a creep, but we know why. It's because she's being hunted down by the monsters. So then that basically shows the reveal that the only reason he kept her around was because she'd be a target for the monsters for him to stalk. So that way he could kill the 3 monsters to feed his 3 contract beasts. Because they're all about to kill him. Yeah. They are literally starving because the last 2 episodes, Asakura hasn't shown up and done anything. Which prompted the question of, why didn't he just feed people to his own monsters? Because he's a murderer, what does he care?
Or the other like less obvious question, why doesn't he just go look for a monster in the mirror world and just feed his monsters?
I don't think that's how that works, because remember that one time that monster ran down a road and Shinji was like, shit, he got away. Remember that? Because that happens.
I don't remember that, honestly.
It was the jellyfish, right after when Megumi was chasing him. But we'll get to that in a second. Well, I'll go more into that in a second. So his 3 contract beasts are about to fucking murderize him because they're hungry, and the part of their contract is, we won't eat you if you feed us, and we'll give you power, yada yada, blah blah blah. You know, it's unspoken. It's never like elaborated on, but that's the general gist of it.
Some people, there's one person says it one time in the show,
but then so. The 3 months. So Shinji sees that Asakura saved this little girl, so he's like, maybe he's not such a bad guy. It's like, no, Shinji, he's a murderer. He murdered his brother in front of your face, and before even that happened, you yourself said he was the one guy you could never forgive.
Yeah.
But he saved the little girl. He's got to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, right?
Fucking, so, like, everybody is just like when Shinji...
This is our chance to get rid of the really powerful murderer guy.
Yeah, they're like...
Kitaoka and Ren are just like...
This is the best opportunity we have of getting rid of Asakura. And then Shinji fucks it up.
Literally, they beat the three monsters, and their souls are flying into the air, so that way their contract beasts could consume them. And Asakura starts sending his after him, and Ren's just like, Darkwing! And then it swoops in and it starts like guarding the you know, I'm really mad that Darkwing didn't just eat one for itself.
That would have been, yeah.
Because the only thing is like, he only needed to not get one. Like, if he doesn't feed one, that one contract beast that didn't get fed will kill him.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, and he uses his other 2 beasts to protect himself from the third, then he doesn't have a third anymore, so he's weaker. But long story short, then Drag Redder comes and blocks Darkwing and what the fucking Magna Gigas, that's what it's called. Kitaoka's big Mega Gargomon thing is called Magna Gigas.
Yeah. And
it blocks them off so it could let Asakura's monsters consume, and Shinji basically says, Asakura, you saved that little girl, and he's just like, no, she was bait. Ha! And then he walks away.
Yeah.
And Shinji's a dumbass. And then we get more Ren being a git. Oh no, we get that, but we get that after Megumi sees Shinji jump out of the mirror world right after that, and he's just like, hey, I don't want you to tell anybody. And she's just like, maybe. Ha 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 ha. And then she kind of like skips away.
No, what he says is like, I don't have a proper explanation yet. Don't tell anybody. Let me have time to figure out what I'm going to say to everybody. Because he's like, at that point, he's just like, as soon as he knows that she knows, he goes, that's it, I'm done. I'm just going to have to tell everybody the truth at that point. That's like his first, that's where he jumps. That's where he draws his conclusion. And then, so he asks her to give him time so that he can properly explain it to everybody. But then her response is, oh, if you're not going to tell me anything, that just means that there's more for me to find out. Ha-ha! And then she walks away. And
then, so that's when a monster attacks a guy robbing a house or a bank or whatever, and makes the guy disappear in the middle of the bank robbery. So And Shinji's there because he's a reporter. And then
Shinji shows up to the bank, and Megumi shows up to follow him. Then the monster shows up again to attack another person, and Shinji is like running around looking for a place to henshin, while at the same time losing Megumi so that she doesn't see him henshin.
Yeah, so, and then this is what I'm going to bring up, that when he does jump in to the mirror world to fight the monster runs down a road, and Shinji's like, damn, he got away. And that's when he leaves, because remember, that's when Megumi was in the alleyway, the dead end, and then she's there for far too long and then leaves right before Shinji pops back out, and she goes into the bathroom, and then he goes
into the bathroom. Then they both come out of the bathroom at the same time, and her conclusion is, while she's in the bathroom, she kind of gets an idea of like what he's doing, but like she kind of gets a vague idea of what he's doing. Then they both come out of the bathroom, and rather than thinking, oh, he was in the bathroom too, she's like, oh, I know your trick, and then walks away.
Alan literally looks at me and he's like, I don't want to hear anything you're about to say. And I just go, why? And he goes, everything you're about to say is what I've already thought just now. I don't want to go back over it.
And then he waits like a minute and then finally says it.
I had to. Like, was I not supposed to? There is no way. So Shinji's obviously freaking out because Megumi's like, oh yeah, I figured it out. And he's just like, what the fuck does that mean? So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to tell everybody. And then that's when Megumi walks in as a fucking princess.
Shinji's like, we cut to the office. Everybody's like,
Reiko with the new haircut.
Yeah, Reiko with the new haircut, and
we forgot about Reiko's side story in all this.
Oh yeah,
where she went and visited a guy who knew
an American professor who had Shiro as a student.
Yes, because she met with Yui. No, all right, fuck. We forgot a lot. So she sees that.
In our defense, there's so much stupid going on that when something actually is happening, we kind of gloss over it.
No. I'm going to tell you what happened. Reiko's storyline collided with Yui, and I totally forgot about it because she's so fucking useless. Literally, all right. We can tell that Yui is extremely important to literally everything Kanzaki Shiro is doing, but she couldn't be more useless to everything. She's literally the reason the plot is progressing, and yet she's so useless.
The only thing that keeps her from being like more important at times is the fact that she's constantly surrounded by Ren and Shinji, because if any of the other guys had Yui with them, then it would literally actually start causing interesting problems to happen, and it just doesn't go anywhere. But it doesn't.
Remember that time she was almost kidnapped and then wasn't, and it didn't matter because the thing that would have happened if she was kidnapped happened anyway?
Yeah.
God, that's how useless she is. As a kidnapped victim, the thing that was going to happen, whether or not she was a kidnapped victim, happened anyway. But, alright, so Reiko, on the day that Asakura breaks out of jail, happens to see in the video footage...
No,
alright,
she's looking through footage of the day that he broke out.
Yeah, alright, I guess I worded that wrong. Yeah. My bad. But Reiko, in present day, is looking at camera video footage of the day Asakura broke out of jail, and out of the corner of her eye, she kind of sees that there's a reflection of a guy in a mirror, and it's Kanzaki Shiro.
She's like, she prints it out as a picture, goes, I've seen this guy before, goes to the cafe that everybody goes to,
and she starts talking with Yui about blah 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 whatever. They start talking about irrelevant things, and then she looks over and sees Yui's picture of her and her brother, and she goes, "This guy! I know this guy! He was in this picture!"
No, wait, they don't even actually have a conversation. She she walks up, and then she goes, Reiko, what are you doing here? And she goes, oh, I'm just checking something. And then she looks and then sees the thing is you're so uninvolved in this that you're just making things up.
Whatever. As far as I could tell, they were having a conversation, and then Reiko like got distracted and then sees the picture. Whatever. The end result is Reiko sees the picture and goes, "Oh, this is a Takami Shiro," and then it's like, "Oh yeah, he like died in America or whatever."
Like 2 years ago.
No, like a year ago. It was only one. Was it 2 years?
It's 2 years.
Whatever. So she's like, I'm so uninvested in that I am making shit up. But she's just like, hey, this is Takami Shiro. Blah blah blah. He died. And then Yui's just like, Nissan, you saw my Nissan, and he's like, and Reiko's just like, the fuck you're talking about? This is your brother, and she's just like, oh yeah,
my brother couldn't possibly be dead because people have been seeing him for the last couple of weeks. That's
months. It's been months. Because
No. She's referring to the riders who have been seeing him in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but they've been seeing him for the last couple of months. Because remember, we are specifically in August, and the Rider War started in February. But and I know
the important part is that she's trying to get at is that people have seen him recently alive,
even though he's technically supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
And Riko's like, well, I have no idea what the fuck that means. That's weird. And then
she says, I guess I'm mistaken because Yui is flipping her shit over this.
Well, yeah. Like, finding out her brother's supposed to be dead. So then Reiko goes and talks to the American guy who can speak Spanish, who can speak Japanese.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a really, like, I wasn't really paying attention. I'm like, man, this guy's Japanese sounds really weird. And I look up and it's a white guy, and I'm like, oh, that's why. It's a white guy speaking. Like, it wasn't bad Japanese. It was just like...
He's speaking really good Japanese.
It was
it's just the accent that threw him off.
Yeah, I was like, this sounds like a really weird accent. And I look up and it's like, oh, this is what happens when a white guy speaks fluent Japanese and not my Weebanese.
Yeah.
This is real Japanese spoken by a white guy, not the fake stuff I do.
Yeah.
And then so she's sitting down and so Reiko is sitting down talking to this guy who worked with Takami Shiro.
Yeah, and like when they first meet up, we see Shiro in a mirror that's like, oh, this isn't good.
Oh yeah, like Shiro's mad creeping around everywhere. Like, all right, one thing I will give this show mad credit for is every time Shiro is like showing up, it's always fucking crazy. It's always scary. Like you hear so it's just like the monster. Shiro is always accompanied by like the loud ringing sound that always happens, and you're just like, fucking this guy, and you look up and he's just there, and he's in like this long ass brown dingy coat with like the messed up hair, and he just speaks in like this really really deep voice that doesn't fit him. Like, visually, his super deep voice does not fit him.
Yeah, and
it's really intimidating, and it's really and also a lot of the camera work they do, like with multiple mirrors. Like, if you see multiple mirrors on camera, they'll usually do something with the multiple mirrors, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like it. It happens a lot. Obviously, because mirrors are a focal point in this series, but I appreciate that they go that extra step and do stuff with the mirrors that they have.
I'm just thinking about that time where they're in the mirror world, and Asakura's snake shows up in a mirror in the mirror.
it was in the Too Bad episode because he's on the boat and the snake is in the mirror.
Okay, at the time, it's not... Like, at the time, I just pointed it out, and we were just like, because it's such a terrible episode, we just weren't in the mood.
And then we realized later that, wait a second, Asakura was already in the mirror world. But if the state... Because while Asakura is in the real world, the whole episode, he's being, like, hunted by his monsters.
And they're in the mirrors.
And they're in the mirrors. and then he's in the mirror world, and then he
looks and sees a snake in the mirror. Does that mean his snake is in the real world? Just hanging out?
Yeah, sure, why not? It's a bad enough episode that that an entire boat full of police officers and journalists can walk by a giant purple snake. Just ignore the shit out of it. Oh, man. So while Reiko is talking with this professor, she, like, turns to, like, get something out of her bag by her feet or something like that. It was one of the pictures that she had printed out. Or something. Mm-hmm. She just turns to get something, and then she looks up, and the professor's just gone. Like, he's just ghosted.
Yeah. Now we'll catch back up to where we're actually at.
Oh my god.
Reiko's talking with the editor about, she goes, like, I need you to trust me in what I'm saying because, like, shenanigans are happening. And then he goes, okay, and then she explains the disappearing people, the guy in the mirror, and then she's, like, starting, and then she's, like, going, and then he goes, like, man, this is, like, really weird. And Shinji is, like, not paying attention to them, because if he was paying attention, he would definitely have said something about it.
Oh, absolutely.
He's instead rehearsing how he's going to tell everybody that he's a Kamen Rider, and the computer girl just gets right up next to him, and just goes like, Henshin, and then he goes, oh, it's nothing, and then that's when Megumi walks in and shows off the
mirror box,
trick.
And it's like the big box that opens up and you put in the things that activate the mirrors and it makes it look like the person inside's disappeared because reflections, blah, blah, blah. And I go, I am so mad that this dumb bitch accidentally clicked everything in place for Reiko. I was so upset because it was so dumb. And then Reiko was just like, oh yeah, everywhere that people disappeared,
there's a reflective surface.
There's mirrors.
She doesn't even say mirror. She instantly jumps to every reflective surface.
Yeah, she's just like, oh yeah, window glass and all that good stuff too. Ugh. So it looks like Reiko is getting connected to the stuff.
Yeah.
And then Shinji's just like, oh, she just thought I was doing mirror tricks. All right, deal. And it's never brought up again.
Yeah. The next thing that happens is
Ren being a git. Anything else is probably irrelevant. It's probably Ren and his dying girlfriend actually dying now.
Yui is starting to have sort of like panic attack moments that ultimately result in her starting to like
dissolve
like the riders do when they're in the mirror world for too long.
Oh, I see those eyebrows going, hey, this is something you need to be paying attention to. I get it, okay?
Yeah.
I get it.
And Shiro is like, I need to speed up the rider war, so he starts going around talking to people and just doing bullshit.
Oh yeah, then he hands Shinji a survive card.
Yeah!
Of all people, Shinji! The person trying to stop the war!
There are 3 survive cards, and Kanzaki Shiro has managed to hand both of them off to people who don't want to be in the rider war.
who don't want the rider war to continue fighting.
Yes. I don't know. He's using some backwards logic that if he gives them power, then they're going to use it to fight or whatever.
You know, that's a slightly good theory if it wasn't for the fact that both of the guys that he handed the card to, Tezuka and Shinji, were super morally pure and upright people who didn't want to fight. But Tezuka handed the survive card off to Ren, and Ren's a git, so he can just do whatever.
Yeah, okay, explanation change. He's handing the survive cards to the pure people in hopes that the power just corrupts them.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that they're too pure to be corrupted. Incorruptible pure pureness. Man, I feel like I'm forgetting about that time that Shinji was just in a really upset about something, and then Ren was just bothering the shit out of him. Remember? But that was a while ago.
After Ren goes to visit his girlfriend and his fiance or whatever, and she's just like fucking, she's extra dying. Then he's like, goes back, then he meets up with them back at the cafe, and there's a note that says like, oh hey, clean up the, like, we did really good today at the cafe, clean up the dishes. And then him and Shinji get into like a really bad argument about who's going to clean the fucking dishes.
Oh, it's not about who's going to clean the dishes. It's that Ren just adamantly says, Shinji, do the dishes, and then walks away like a git. And then Shinji's just like, hey, fucking help me.
No, Shinji doesn't want help. He's telling Ren to do the dishes.
No, he says you should at least help me. And then
the first time he says you should help me, and then after that they start going back and forth about, you do the dishes. You do the dishes.
In Shinji's defense, like he obviously, he literally starts going off on Ren as like, hey, you're always acting like this. I don't know why you're acting like a git right now, but you could, tell us stuff. Like Shinji has literally had it up to his neck with Ren. He's just basically done with him.
They start yelling at each other, fucking Shinji about Ren being a git, and Ren about Shinji being too innocent and pure for this world. And then Granny shows up, the tea shop, or the cafe owner, the actual cafe owner. And she tells them, or then they sit down to eat lunch, and while they're eating lunch, nobody's saying anything, so she tells them to go and do something for the day and don't come back.
Oh no, that doesn't happen until after Yui splashes water on them because they're up in each other's face. After they broke some dishes.
It was the same scene that they were arguing. It's
yeah.
It's whatever.
Yui was there to
then
break
they
up the fight.
Then they go to an amusement park and have a grand old time.
Oh
yeah, and before they go to the amusement park, we get the scene where both Shinji and Ren are deathly afraid of dogs.
Yeah, literally, a lady was walking, I think it was a lady. A lady was like walking her dog, and then they both just like hop to the side and like start hugging the wall.
Shinji is hiding behind Yui, and Ren is on top of a bunch of rails, and they're both.
And they just make no mention of it right away, and I go, wait, why is Ren there? And he's just like, they're both afraid of, and Alan was like, they're both afraid of dogs, and I go, really? Have they never been on screen with a dog before this in the show? And he goes, no. And I'm like, wow, that is actually really funny. That is really funny.
Then they go to the amusement park and have a fun time.
Not Disneyland.
And Shiro, like, while Yui and Shinji are out on the water, like, rowing up on a rowboat or some bullshit, Shiro shows up and says, hey man, your girlfriend's gonna die. You should probably fight. Maybe. Just fight, fight. Just do it.
Just fucking do it, man.
Just throw a punch. And then, so, Ren talks to Shinji and says, I have to fight. We're going to fight now. And Shinji is like, okay, because I made that promise like a bunch of episodes ago saying that I would take on the burden of your fight. And then they start fighting. Ren's like, "Aw, survive card. You're not gonna fucking beat this."
And then he starts whooping Shinji's ass.
And then Shinji is like, my survive card!
And then he literally sets the entire surrounding area on fire, just like Ren summons a tornado with his survive card.
They're fighting a bit, and then Shinji goes to pull a card from his deck, and he pulls out one of the best cards in the game.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what it is. He's just like, what is this?
he pulls. It's called Strange Vent, and what it does is it copies a card from his opponent's deck. Just like Copy, except you don't need to reactively use it like Copy. You just get to see what card it is, and then choose whether or not to play it later.
Yeah, he puts it in, and he picks it up, and he puts it back in, and then Ren's new card in Survive form that we finally see now is Shoot Vent. Like, he gets a Shoot Vent, and it's just crossbow bolts from his shield.
Yeah, it's too bad that Shinji also got a better Shoot Vent.
Oh yeah, we don't see it here, but we do see it next episode. And in the next episode, when he does the Shoot Vent, it summons Drag Rider to do his Strike Vent, but now he has a gun.
Oh yeah. And Drag Rider, just like Darkwing, gets an evolved form.
Yep, both in the Survive forms, their Contract Beasts get Survive forms of their own, more elaborate designs, a color change. So when Ren goes into Survive mode, his black outfit turns blue, and then Darkwing also turns blue.
Shinji's color scheme stays the same. He's red.
Yep, but he just gets like gold armor pieces or something on Drag Rider.
And they fight, and I assume that it comes out a tie because Shinji's not dead.
They just kind of leave.
Yeah, they both just kind of leave. It's a tie. Because they both have Survive vents. They're both equally.
No, they're both fucked the fuck up.
And they both fight each other equally and beat each other up equally as bad. And then I'm assuming that they just ran out of time.
The arbitrary time limit.
Yeah, that arbitrary time limit that lasts as long as it needs to.
But Yui is also having like panic attacks or something because she can hear the fighting, even though that's not how that works. But whatever.
And so they basically part ways at that point, and Shinji goes back to Yui, and Ren just kind of goes off on his own. Ren goes off looking for the other riders to fight them and beat them.
But unfortunately for him, Kitaoka got Asakura arrested.
Yeah.
Kitaoka then starts dying himself.
Not yet, actually. You're thinking of one of the arbitrary times that he just kind of doesn't. He just kind of falls over and then.
Because it was in this recent episode. It was in these recent couple of episodes because Yui started dying. Ren's girlfriend started dying, and then Kitaoka started dying. I'm like, wow, everyone's just dying this episode. But
the reason why Kitaoka's not around is because he has an appointment with somebody somewhere.
And then that's how he gets Asakura arrested.
Yeah.
Or something. Whatever. Anyway, he can't run into Kitaoka, and he can't run into Asakura, and he already fought Shinji, so he can't fight Shinji again. That's not how that works, obviously.
So then Odin shows up, and he goes, hey man, you should be fighting. And then Ren turns around, gets really mad, says, I am trying to fight. Nobody is around. Nobody else wants to fight. What the fuck? I'm trying to do it. And then he goes, and then Odin's like, well, that's not my problem. He goes, well, it is going to be your problem because I'm going to fight you now.
No. Odin, he actually also says, you don't need to push yourself to fight for some reason. Like, I don't know why. But, like, Odin was just, like, saying you don't need to push yourself this hard to fight.
Yeah, there's no reason for Odin to be saying this. Because he's getting what he wants at the end of the day.
I think what he was trying to tell Ren, but he wasn't, is that because I'm pretty sure we see a scene of him in the hospital, of Kanzaki Shiro in the hospital looking at Eri or something. I have a feeling
the scene that you're talking about is he's looking at Eri, and then Eri's condition starts to get worse. Which the only thing that makes sense is that when Shiro showed up, he happened to show up when it started to get worse for her, and then he felt bad for Ren because technically both of them are in the war to fight for somebody else.
I just have a feeling that when he's telling Ren that, he like did some magic bullshit to keep Eri from dying for a little bit longer. Something.
There's that. And
I just got that feeling.
Yeah, they fight each other, and Ren gets like a a last minute, like, Ren gets his shit pushed in, but then as, like, Odin's about to deal the final blow, Ren gets, like, a fucking sucker punch in that just fucking ends the fight.
It wasn't a sucker punch, it was a stab through the stomach.
Yeah, it was a sucker stab to the stomach.
Yeah, close enough.
And then, for having beaten Odin, Shiro rewards Ren by waking up his girlfriend.
And then that's where we are now.
There's two more things we didn't talk about. We get the introduction of a scientist who's now working in Shiro's old lab.
Uh-huh.
And working with him is one of the guys who was working on the project with Shiro back in the day, and some kid. And when Shinji meets them, a monster attacks, and then he goes to fight the monster. A new rider shows up with a tiger contract monster, and he's got the whole tiger motif. I forget what his fucking name is.
We'll probably figure it out soon.
And we also get the introduction of a different type of ringing when monsters show up, which is we don't get to see the monster that ring belongs to yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Shinji and the Tiger Rider beat up the monsters.
And that Tiger Rider's final event is really cool. The tiger drags the monster along the ground all the way up to where his rider is, and the rider now has claws, huge ass claws on there.
Stabs the monster, picks him up, and then he just explodes above him.
He literally just pulls off the heat end.
Yeah. And then when Shinji goes to confront the scientist again, the scientist goes, "I'm trying to end the Rider War." And he goes, "I want to help too." And he goes, "Well,
I don't trust you.
I don't trust you yet, and we're the Tiger Rider, and go the fuck away."
But Shinji was just like, but there's more people who don't want to fight. And he's like, yeah.
The only two people we're missing before the end of the show are the Patchwork Rider and the Gazelle Rider.
God damn it, the Gazelle. Yeah.
Fun fact, the Gazelle Rider has the most contract beasts.
Oh, yeah, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna accept it.
He does it.
We'll get there.
He doesn't say it, but he has one contract with an entire flock of gazelle monsters.
Okay.
Oh man.
All
we're
right,
next time we come back talking about this, we're going to have finished Ryuki, and we're actually going to watch the 2 specials that go with it this time.
We kind of have to, because apparently they're super important. Anyway, till next time.